Make them say, I want
Not
to
ready
come
for
down
that.
upside down. I love the X-Files air horn.
Finding on
That's
that
my-
X-Files,
my
the air horn
new-
conspiracy.
New favorite thing ever is the X-Files air horn. I'm overjoyed that you sprung that on me in the last episode on Monday.
Totally found it by accident, but once I found it, I was like, "Oh, this is the one. This
Nope,
is the
that's
one."
the one. When you know, you know. And,
Exactly.
We know. X-Files air horn coming at you hot. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on a Wednesday. Hopefully everyone is doing well, safe out there. Thanks for tuning in. Monday had a great show then. Got a little good momentum going here. Again, everyone be safe out there, but
Yep.
we'll keep doing this as long as we can for you guys, and as long as you're watching. But Tyler, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. Just get through another day. Like Ronnie said, if you're out there protesting, man, be as safe as you can. But all in all, it's it's not too bad of a day.
Yeah, we're still here. We're still, just bringing that bullshit to you on the Quarantine King show. You can expect it. You can rely on it, unless I don't get home from the bank in time.
You can set your watch to it.
Maybe I'll be doing it off my phone somehow. I don't even know if that's possible. But right at the top of the show, I know we had mentioned this last week on Friday that we were in our quest for 5,000 views. May or may not have been a mathematical error, but I put it all into a spreadsheet now, and I can now confirm that we are over 5,000 views, 5,315 total views across all platforms. As with the X-Files horn.
I think David Duchovny would appreciate that.
Yeah, he would. But thank you guys. That's 5,315 views, and let's keep them coming. But I don't know if you saw, the post I put out earlier today, just kind of teasing out the episode. We are going to be joined tonight by Braden Surprenant, currently the executive producer of the John Kentera Show. That's Monday through Friday from noon to 3 on The Fan here in San Diego, 97.3. I've worked with him, quite a bit in the past too, doing Padres and other stuff there at The Fan. So we're going to get him on here in just a second. And shout out to him for joining. Actually, you probably have seen him. I want to throw this up there too. Shout out to me for shooting the video, by the way. But you'll usually see him down on the field if the Padres win a home game. We'll be down there just, hoping to get our 1 or 2 minutes of time after everyone's done talking to TV and doesn't want to talk to us. You will see us down there.
Braden's actually 6'6", so Paddock is actually like 7'5".
Paddock is 8'1".
Yeah,
if you do the math on that, he's a giant. He's a Goliath of a man. But it does look like we got Braden here on the line, so I'm going to bring him on the Tito Auto Body and Used Tires Celebrity Hotline. Tito Auto Body and Used Tires, 3581 University Avenue. Tito Auto Body and Used Tires, where you don't pick up your car until you pay for it, and that is the Tito's guarantee. Let's get Braden into the show here. Braden, how are you doing this evening?
Braden, how you doing, man?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate the invite. I don't know what's taken so long, but I was ecstatic. Ron gave me the invite the other day, and excited to be on the show. You guys are cracking me up. This has been hilarious so far, waiting backstage.
Well, we had to work some stuff out with your agent before we could really get you on. Lots of money talks and everything.
Minor details, but I'm just glad that my agent and you guys can reach a deal quicker than baseball can.
Ooh. Anyone that's booking, Braden in the future, also no red M&Ms. That's in his rider. That's to make sure that somebody reads it. So the M&M bowl that's laid out in his green room backstage area, no red M&Ms. Make sure that's a must. But appreciate you joining us. You've seen some of the other episodes, trying to get everyone from the fan crew involved here. Braden is currently, as we mentioned before, the full-time producer of the John Kentera Show. That's weekdays, noon to 3 on The Fan, which, kind of the first thing I wanted to ask just about that, and we'll kind of circle back to that. But how is it, because I know, we've been in communication, working where you're pretty much the only one in a building that normally has 150, 200 people there. When it's fully, up and running, do you have to wear a mask, or what's the deal there? What's it look like on the ground there, like sitting at the board?
Well, I am the one of the three canaries in a coal mine, if you will, going to work. It's kind of bizarre to a certain extent. I mean, the first couple of weeks, it's been weak. It's been today's like day 84 since we've started this whole thing in terms of our company. But the first couple of weeks, the mentality was like, hey, it's just like a weekend shift. Like, this is how many people are here usually on the weekend, like whatever. But just every single day, it's been a process for sure. Like, the building has required, like, I have to wear a mask from my car to like the elevator. And once I get out of the elevator, I can take the mask off. And the limited people that at work are like, yeah, I don't care if you wear a mask or not. So I'm not like sitting in studio with the mask trying to do the show.
Right.
But it's weird for sure. Like I'll do like laps around the building, like just up the sixth. You've been Ron, you understand the sixth floor. We just walk around and like in a circle in our place, and that's been like my I wouldn't say my means of exercise, but my means of staying sane. Just kind of like cruise through like the office. I brought this up to one of my friends the other day. I was like, dude, it's weird with like when you walk by people's desks and the calendar says they all say March 11th, and it's just like I just like walked by and I'm like, this is the day the earth stood still. It's wild. Like there's one person's desk that's got like a calendar on it, and I don't know whose desk it is, but it's got like they X'd out every day on the calendar, and then it's like it stops at May 11th, and they have like all these like plans on their calendar. I'm like, dude, this is the creepiest thing ever that I gotta do. So I'm hoping whoever's desk that is, they return obviously as soon as possible, so they can start Xing out a bunch of calendar days that they've been missing out on. Yeah, but it's been a weird experience for sure, especially like co-hosting a show with somebody that's not there. I know you guys do it with the video, but it's been different. I haven't seen anybody from work in so long. It's I would say it takes a toll on you, but it's just different.
Yeah, and I hadn't even thought about. I knew that for the most part people were not there, but you got to realize too with the radio station, there's the booths where the recording is done or live broadcasts are done, but there's a whole other office section where salespeople sit, executives, and they're just kind of more like normal office style cubicles. So that would be kind of just eerie, I guess, walking around there. For one, no one's there, but like you said, the thing about the calendars, things just haven't really been moved or touched that have just sat on their desks.
Right.
It's got to be kind of a freaky thing. And I don't even know. Hopefully someone's still there cleaning out the fridge, because that was always a problem
fridge
when
got
I was
cleaned
there.
out like week one. They just like, you know what, forget it. We're just going to clean everything out of the fridge. But you've been there on like it's like an energy saving building. So like if you're not in the area, like the lights will just shut off. So there's a lot of times where like the whole place is dark and you walk and then the lights like turn on while you walk through, and it's just like you kind of get like that I Am a Legend kind of feel. Like
as you go, just like things light up.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it is usually on the weekends or overnight and stuff.
But it freaks you out too if you're like, you think you're there by yourself and the lights flick on, you're like, what's going on? Which has happened a couple times. We've seen a couple people like just kind of roll in, like a couple guys from Kson have showed up like maybe once every couple weeks. Salespeople like kind of roll through there every once in a while, and like some of our bigger bosses. But it's like it's not common, so it's like when it happens, you're like, what's going on? Why is there somebody here? Yeah,
whoa.
Exactly.
Better put the mask on. I don't want to get popped.
Right, exactly.
So, kind of give us an idea for those of us that that don't work in the sports radio. How many people are working there now? At during your show from 12 to 3, how many people are working there now compared to how many were working there before on the show?
Well, my show my show's got 3 people usually staffed. The morning and afternoon show are usually 4 people staffed. Normally, right now it's just me and Coach Quintera, and then the morning show is down to just their producer and their 2 hosts, and the afternoon show is a producer and their 2 hosts. But in terms of people going in the building, the building, it's it's the 3 producers at the Fan, 1 producer at Kson, 1 producer at Sunny, and 2 engineers, and that's probably the max amount of people that have been in the building on a daily basis, which is weird because like Ron was saying, we usually have like 150 people in there in our company, and working constantly, moving around, and when you got that limited crew, it's just weird, man. It's just different times, but it's come to a point where I've done it for so many days now that it's almost like weird to see people there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that first day back, it's going to be weird. And they gave us a date, and it sounds like it's just so far in advance that I'm gonna have to get used to this for the summer. But it was kind of like when I watched NASCAR. I've been watching a lot of NASCAR, and like they showed highlights of the Coca-Cola 600 when there's fans there for previous years, and that almost looked more weird than them racing with nobody there. And I think that's just how long we've been doing this.
We've been trying to, adopt, sort of take NASCAR under our wing. As you know, we were the iRacing show of record when that was going on, RIP iRacing. And it's brief but glorious. It was like a comet, it burns out, but it goes out bright. So I was loving iRacing, and I'm glad to see NASCAR back. But it is weird to see no fans, especially, I mean, if you look at like a football stadium, even a bigger one, 100, 110,000, maybe 115,000 people. These NASCAR, like Daytona probably holds like 200-something thousand people. So like Talladega, one of these, like it's a huge empty space with these guys just like doing laps. So it's really weird to see it. We mentioned before, Fox is doing the best they can with it. And I think they've kind of picked up on some of the stuff that they were doing during the iRacing to make it more engaging to the fans, because there wasn't an actual crowd or, physical drivers or crew chiefs that they could go down and talk to. It's been a pretty good production, but we're definitely, I'm just going to say it right now. We are the NASCAR show of record on the Quarantine Network. I don't think Callan's going to claim that title from us, and if you do, come at me, bro.
Throwing down the gauntlet.
Callan's got he's the AHL quarantine.
Oh yeah.
Show.
No,
he's got that unlocked. You can't take the Goals or the Condors or any of those guys from him.
I will not challenge him on AHL knowledge or
Absolutely
for
not.
that part, even SEALs or Soccers. I know he's a PA legend down there at the sports arena, and he does have the voice, the voice of God. But shout out to Callan, great friend of the program. I do want to give a little background here on Braden, just as a guest here on the show. San Diego local, went to TCU, which, anyone that's worked with Braden will have to hear about incessantly. So I do want to ask you now, how does it feel knowing that Texas is back?
Well, first of all, Texas is not back. I'm not even going to tolerate that.
They're back every year. They're back every single year.
They're never back. I got a Texas story. I mean, I remember, so I, more background on me. I mean, I worked for TCU's football team when I was out there. Probably why I have a lot of pride in obviously TCU. I got a lot of pride in the schools I attended, high school, college, whatever, what have you. Obviously competitive, love sports. So I'm gonna talk some smack when the Horned Frogs are doing well. But I was their video guy for a couple of years. I shot their all 22 cam. Shot practice and games. So being part of the team in some facet, growing up in San Diego, you're not really, I mean, you guys know, it's not a college town. It's not really, and not to knock San Diego State or USD, but it's just not the same when it comes to the pride of being, a college fan. So
just major conference college
right.
football.
I go to San Diego State games growing up, and it was like, oh, cool. This is they're playing this giant stadium. There's not as many people here. They're playing San Jose State. Yeah, it's cool. I guess they're playing football on a Saturday. And then I went out to Texas, and I got to experience that for the first time. I thought it was great, but being a part of it firsthand, and traveling with the team and doing all that sort of stuff, I mean, it really gets you sucked into it. But I remember we played Texas it was my junior year. We were number 3 in the country or whatever it was. We were coming off that Peach Bowl season, and I just remember it because I had to go down to the TV truck and get something recorded that was part of my daily job for the team. So I went down to the TV truck. So I went. And the TV truck's parked where all the parking lot is, and it's filled. Texas fans are everywhere, and they were the most obnoxious people of all time. And I was just I was sitting there. I'm like, you guys. I mean, they were limping into that game. I think they're 1-2. I think they lost to Maryland. I mean, it was just they weren't even very good. Charlie Strong was already big time on the hot seat, and then they're sitting there talking all this crap, and they just thought they were the greatest thing ever. And I'm just sitting there is this common? I mean, these guys haven't done anything in years. And all the Texas people that went to TCU are oh yeah, we have to deal with this all the time. And I was they're about to get their ass kicked. I'm I swear. And TCU dropped a 50 burger on them and beat them 50-3. And that was honestly like probably the most enjoyable games I have ever been to. Besides, of course, my junior year also knocking off Texas Tech in the greatest fashion ever and seeing a bunch of Texas Tech people very upset that they almost upset the number 3 team in the country. And that's what they get for throwing tortillas at me the entire time.
Oh, guns up.
Dude, get out of here. Lubbock sucks. We've been over this multiple times. I'm not a fan of Lubbock. That was a trip from hell. I got pelted with batteries and bottles and tortillas. Texas Tech, also, we played them like early September. So it was hotter than crap in Lubbock. And they when we showed up to the locker room, they claimed that the air conditioning was broken. And then we looked, it was like, it's hotter inside than it is outside. And one manager went to like the vent. He's feeling it. And he's like, there's hot air coming out of this thing. They turned the heater on inside our locker room. And we're like, this is absurd. This is ridiculous. And then we walk by their locker room to get to the press box, ice cold. I mean, just like the coolest place you've ever been in your entire life. And I was like, this place is a hellhole. And they told me the stories. You guys know the tortilla story with Texas Tech?
I'm vaguely familiar with it.
So, like, one time, like, they were playing back in the day, and some coach of another team was like, they asked him about playing in Lubbock. He's like, there's nothing in Lubbock but tortillas and cactus. Right, and, like, the people got upset, so they just pelted tortillas at everybody since then that have come in. So, opening kickoff happens, and I keep hearing about these tortilla rumors, and I'm like, are you kidding? They throw tortillas on the field? Opening kickoff, all these, like, tortillas fly out of the stands. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, tortillas. And our kick returner returns, like, he fields it, like, at the, like, right around the goal line, so it's kind of like you can take it out. And he slips on a tortilla, and he falls to the ground, so he has to take a knee to start the game. And I was like, I don't know how the Big 12 has tolerated this for so long, but it was such an absurd game. It was crazy. But the fact that we won that game, and there's a lot of sad Tech fans, it was a blast. That was the greatest 45-minute flight home I've ever had.
If there's ever
I'll tell you how the Big 12 is
injury, then they'll probably ban it. But sorry, Tyler.
No, they won't ban it unless Oklahoma or Texas complains about it. That's how you get things done in the Big 12.
Probably true.
Well, that's the place. Lubbock is a place where Big 12 teams go to die. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but like when Texas is good and they have to play at Texas Tech, weird stuff happens in Texas at Lubbock. Oklahoma got into that. They scored like 80 points and won like 80-77 was Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. I mean, weird things happen in Lubbock.
Slanging it.
The place that you don't want to play, and unfortunately, our biggest rival Baylor never has to play there because they get to play the Butt Bowl at Cowboy Stadium.
I'm glad you brought up Baylor. I was telling Ronnie beforehand, even never having met you, I was still just kind of as a troll move. I had a friend that was over at our local store, local mall here, and I said, hey, if you see either an SMU or a Baylor hat, buy it so I can wear it on the show tonight. Apparently there's not a huge demand for that in Bakersfield, California. So
the thing is with SMU though, and I know they beat us last year. I mean, SMU has been like so irrelevant for us the last like 10 years. I mean, they dominated us like mid 70s when they had like
that was the glory days.
Yeah.
Glory days of the old Southwest Conference, baby.
Right, they're giving people Corvettes. They're having a good time. Like, it's in a good neighborhood. They're doing well, and they're getting a lot better for sure. But the hype for the SMU TCU game is so overhyped. I mean, like, and maybe it's just because like when I was there, TCU won like 9. It was like their 9th straight victory, so it's kind of hard. And SMU is going through some serious like just overhaul changes. But it's a game to me. It's like San Diego State playing USD in basketball. Like, it doesn't do any good for San Diego State to play USD, even though it's really good for USD to play San Diego State. And I think SMU's getting better to that point, and I think they're going to be really good this year. And obviously I want to play them this year. I want the Iron Skillet back. You can't let that go to waste. But to me, I mean, I've had conversations with my friend. It's almost like it would be better to play Utah every year than play SMU because of like you can bring back the old Utah TCU Mountain West rivalry. I think it'd be a little bit more fun than playing SMU. And I know the tradition, you got a trophy and stuff, but I mean, when you win the saddle against Texas Tech, it's a little bit cooler because you get to ride in the saddle as opposed to just hanging out with this like iron skillet that was used to cook frog legs. So I don't know why you would want to have that if you're a TCU. But yeah, it's fun. Texas is fun, man, when it comes to college sports because every school, regardless of where you're at, hates each other. I mean, A&M, and everybody hates A&M because they left the Big 12, but like, I mean, we never play A&M except for like defeating them and knocking them out of the College World Series every year. But it's a fun thing to do. I enjoy doing it. I even told Chris Paddock that when I interviewed him. I was like, dude, I know it's tough for you right now. That a TCU Horned Frog is interviewing you, and he has to let you know that you guys can't beat us in the playoffs. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. But it's a fun atmosphere in that state. I mean, even if anybody played UNT, I'm sure they'd be really fired up to beat the Mean Green. But it's a fun time. It's a fun
Shout
time
out to Rice
there.
Also.
Yeah, dude,
Rice. Let's go. I think this is maybe moments before Braden dropped that bomb on Chris Paddock. And then there was a fight, so I had to cut the video off. There was a misunderstanding. But one last thing I wanted to hit on the TCU days. I know you had worked in some college radio, and we've spoken about this in the past. Apparently, there was now a legend in my mind that you dubbed Antenna Man that would call in. And some say maybe he fell off his roof adjusting his antenna. I don't know how he's picking up the signals so strong, but apparently a big Marshall Tucker band fan. But just hit us with one Antenna Man story, or just kind of give us an idea of who was maybe or is still Antenna Man.
Well, we're hoping Antenna Man's spirit lives on, and hopefully he's still with us. But he went MIA for a long time when I was in college, so I don't really know if he's still around or not. And based on the last conversation I had with him, it didn't sound like he was going to be on the planet much longer. And it's not because of anything serious. It was because something he was doing didn't seem to be that smart at the time he was doing it. But Antenna Man's a guy like, worked at we had our college stations, KTCU. It's been around for a long time. And it's kind of ingrained in the market to a point where people listen to it. When I was there, it's totally different now. They've totally revamped it. They've made it more directed towards college kids, which, I was a big advocate for that as well because, not to dog Marshall Tucker band, but that's not something I want to listen to as a 18, 19, 20-year-old.
Get him off. Get him off. Get him out of here.
That's all right. You've been muted. No, you're back.
God, man.
But I can mute you at any time.
I always had conversations with the station manager. He'd be like, how do we get more college kids to listen to our station? I was like, stop playing the music you're playing because nobody listens to it. I was like, I guarantee if you went and asked any kid right now that's walking around TCU who the Marshall Tucker Band is, they would be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But anyway, we played the format of the station was Americana, Texas country, and one other folk type thing. I mean, it was awful. But you would play that from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. And then the night shows, you could play whatever you want. And we'd have this guy, and he'd call in all the time for this night show I had. It was called the All Night Tres Amigos. It was me and two other guys. And we played alternative and top 40 music from about 11 o'clock at night to 1 in the morning. And we'd have BS in between. It was kind of a fun night talk show type of deal. And we were playing at the time it was pop alternative music. We were playing some Blink-182. We played some what I'm trying to think of artists that were popular about Cage the Elephant. We played some it was kind of new top 40 alternative stuff at the time. And right. Antenna Man this guy calls in and he's like, hey man, I usually listen to some stuff during the day, but I really like your vibe right now. I really like what's going on, the music you're playing. I've never heard anything like this before. And then he put in a request. He was like, can you play some Marshall Tucker Band? And I was like, Marshall? I was like, I didn't know what that is, dude. But I was like, all right, sure, dude. I was like, that's cool. And it's at 12 o'clock at night. It's at midnight. You guys just listen to the radio. And I was like, thanks for tuning in, man. He's like, yeah, dude, this is Antenna Man. I just love your shit, man. And I was like, what? And I was like, all right. And then I get another call, and he would call in all the time. He was the only guy that would call into that station. I mean, that was it. Nobody's listening that's a college kid. We'd get some people to call in to win tickets to the Fort Worth Stock Show. That was a very popular item to give away, the Fort Worth Stock Show tickets. We'd get a lot of callers for that, but he would call in and be like, hey, it's Antenna Man, man. Can you play Marshall? It was always Marshall Tucker Band. I was saying, the last conversation I had with this guy, he was like, He's like, I really like that song you just played. What is it? And I told him, and he's like, oh, it's great. And it was like a thunderstorm that was going on outside. Like it was a tough night, Texas storm. It was like a legit storm, not like the stuff we get out here in California. And he was like, I got to go fix my antenna on my roof. It's stuck up there and it's not working. I'm going to go on top of my roof and fix my antenna. And that was the last I heard of him. I didn't hear anything from him ever since then. And that was a pretty brutal storm we had. So I really hope he fixes antenna, and I really hope that he's still listening to KTCU, and hopefully he should be a little bit more inspired by the music we're playing now, because they're playing a lot of cool stuff over there. And proud alum of KTCU. But yeah, antenna man, he was a character for sure, man. It was better, and I don't want to dog any of our callers here in San Diego, but I haven't had a single guy like him, like, ever out here.
Well, there's only one antenna man, and also I choose to believe he's still out there somewhere.
His spirit lives on, dude.
You know what? Maybe he's still, with us on this mortal coil.
He's out there, and he just wants to hear some Marshall Tucker Band at midnight. That's all.
If he would have played some Marshall Tucker Band, he'd probably be a lot, safer, and wouldn't have any problems. But I always enjoyed the stories being regaled with the tales of Antenna Man. So I did want to have you reset that. You
Antenna Man stories when you're in the middle of the 60s, Rockies on a Tuesday night, both teams are 20 games back. I mean, you got to talk about something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Braden and I, we've both been there for some just miserable late season Padre games where no one wants to be there, including the players. And it's just like, just end it, please. Come on.
Some sweet extra inning game against the D-backs in late August.
Would welcome. Right, exactly. Hey, nobody's complaining about that when baseball comes back. I will sit there through a first game. If I have to sit through a 7-hour game, by all means, I'm for it at this point.
I will take it. Yeah, I mean, now it's like you get a little nostalgic. Like, all right, well, that's better than the alternative, which is no baseball. So, all right,
which is no sports anywhere, which stinks.
But again, we've talked about it on this show, and I know you've been keeping up with it, obviously, and then speaking about it on your show as well. Hopefully they work something out. There'll still be a point like where that shine will wear off of baseball being back, and just like, I gotta sit here for this. But I look forward to that problem. I would love to have that problem now. So let's make it happen and get some baseball out there, please.
I'm looking forward to that too. I'm hoping they let us go, obviously, and I got to get that free, that free hot dog in the 5th inning while I sit there and watch, the Padres try to come back and try to get a victory over whoever it may be. I hope they get the deal done. I mean, they got so much to lose in terms of not playing a season, and it doesn't make any sense for me for them to just be, I mean, at this point, everybody's going to lose something, so it's like. And the big problem, I think, too, is they're like so worried about the next CBA that they're not focused on like getting this deal done just to play.
Right.
And I think that's a bad look. And then we start talking to some of the people around baseball. It sounds like 10 teams really want to play, 10 teams are on the fence, and 10 teams are like, yeah, who cares? I mean, we don't really care if we play. I mean, if you're the Marlins or the Pirates, why would you want to play? I mean,
you really don't have a lot to gain. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like the Marlins already don't make that much money back in a regular season. So they're like, well, if we're not going to make any money anyway, we might as well just not play and just wait for our young guys to get better. It's a huge problem. And I think it's an embarrassment to baseball for not having a plan in place at this point, especially since they're the most socially distant sport. And you got hockey and basketball already saying, yeah, we're good to go, this is when we're going to start. I still think their start time is a little late, but that being said, at least they're coming back.
Yeah. I mean, I think just the fan, like the hit to the fan reputation would be so bad if they are cleared health-wise to play. If they don't work it out somehow, that it's going to damage the owners and the players, like just everyone. So it's just the reputation of the whole sport in general. It's it's already kind of like trying to find footing in a TV world where football and basketball and even sometimes hockey is even competing with them for ratings. So I hope they work it out. Like I said, I'd love to have that problem, 2-3 months from now where you're stuck at just like a game that's going nowhere and you just have to stay till the end. But we got to get to that point first. So
you're going to have that problem in September. I mean, there's a problem that nobody's even thinking about is they're going to bring all the sports back at the exact same time. And there's only so much time you can put games on the air. And if everybody's expecting this big TV contract, I mean, if they're all playing at the same time, they can't all be watched at the same time. That's a good problem to have for us sports fans. You're gonna have playoff hockey, playoff basketball, playoff implication baseball, college football, and the NFL all going on at one time in September. That's all going to be happening. I mean, that sounds.
That's the dream.
That's
the dream.
We're gonna have a great time. Better get your 4 TVs set up and a game on every TV and be ready to go because, you know, and they even already threw out like dates for the NBA Finals. I mean, I think the first game is on Monday Night Football when the Saints are playing the Chargers. So it's like, all right, we're gonna watch the NBA Finals. You're gonna watch Monday Night Football. I just flip back and forth.
Nice.
Well, we are up against it time-wise. Again, thank you, Braden, for hopping on with us.
Thank you very much.
Welcome anytime if you just call in or, you know, maybe get you on as a guest again. I know you got plenty more stories from working in the business and, you know, different things that we've experienced even working together. But appreciate you spending some time with us and make sure that you, the fans, know that we appreciate you for getting us over that 5,000 mark. And Tyler,
thank you very much.
If you want to get the last word in here before we cut it off.
Yeah, stick around on the Quarantine Network for Ask Auntie Bev. Callan, we see you in the chat. Sorry we didn't get you on. We will get you Friday if you call in. But as always, keep the fire.
Keep the fire.